I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned.
Peace. And welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. And I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba. And this is our Cultural Variety Podcast show. How y'all doing today? Yes. Today is February 27th, 2023. And that's that, y'all. February come and go, don't it? You know it do. That shit come and go. You know. They say, here, take this. This is Black History Month. Take this, 28 days. He's smarter than that, y'all, right? But how you doing today? Welcome to the show, Coffee Talk Podcast. Let me know how y'all doing, man. Leave a comment. Post a comment. Leave a comment. You know, what you've been doing this month, you know, although, you know, Black History Month's all year. But what have you done? What family things have you done? Have you went on any outings? Have you, sat down, drunk some coffee or something with a wise head, you know what I'm saying, and got some knowledge? What have you done? What have you done this month? May you have had great experience, positivity, light, and happiness with whatever you did, right? Right. But yeah, man, it's get ready to be spring. And right now here in the Twin Cities, we are going through a crazy little snowstorm per se. You know, first it was a lot of snow last week. We just now digging out of it. So much snow, man, that it covered ice. And excuse me, one moment. It covered ice. And I ended up getting injured this past weekend, caught a high ankle sprain. That's how much snow we had, you know. And now we are getting some fair, good weather during the winter months here in Minnesota. We're at like 35, 40 degrees. So what that's doing is it's creating a lot of water. And then that water, though, because we have bipolar weather, that water ends up freezing over overnight, man. And then, you know, we get caught up in it. And a lot of people get injured, you know. They slip on that ice. They take out a hip, ankle, all that type of stuff, man. So I'm just saying that in that sense to just be careful, man. Make sure you're watching out for your children, your loved ones, and so forth. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is Coffee Talk Podcast. This is our Cultural Variety Podcast show. You know, we like to appear 3 times a week. Again, we are a Cultural Variety Podcast show, so we like to give you different flavor, man, throughout the week. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you a breakdown if you're new to the show. On Sunday, alternate Monday nights, we like to do Cultural Studies nights. So what we do is we give big props to our doctors, our lawyers, our scholars, our poems and poets. We like to give you a short reading on short stories, man, just to get you to think and unwind and relax, reflect, and even research. You know what I'm saying? So that's our Cultural Studies night. On Wednesdays, you know, that's our sports night. But we're not your typical sports show. We don't care if who won or lost. We like to talk about the different intricacies that's going on behind the scenes in the world of sports. So that's what we do on Wednesday nights. And then Friday, Saturday night is an alternate weekend. We like to go ahead and just call that the Grown Folks Social Hour. So what we do there is, hey, come on the show, man. Bring you something to drink, bring you something to roll up. It's hip hop, it's entertainment, it's culture. We like to have fun. We like to play 10-question Q&A, and we like to just unwind from a long work week. You know what I'm saying? So that's our Grown Folks Social Hour Friday and Saturday night. But hey, I'm happy you're here. And we're going to get ready to dive into the show. Let's do it. All right. So as you know, we never start the show without giving its wise words, as well as the flavor of the day before we start the show. So let's go ahead and begin, shall we? Yeah, you know it. All right. So today's flavor is Brazilian coffee. Brazilian coffee is today's flavor. And you can get that in an espresso. You can get that in a latte. You know what I'm saying? Put some whipped cream on that, some caramel on top. That's what you get, the Brazilian coffee. Why? Because it's warm for the body, especially during the winter months. It's got a smooth taste and it has great aroma. So that's what we like to do on Coffee Talking Brewing. We bring you the flavor. We bringing you the flavor. So tonight's flavor is Brazilian coffee. All right, all right, all right. And next, our wise words before we start our show. Our wise words this evening comes from affirmations.com. That's affirmations.com. You can definitely, if you want to look up some positive affirmations to help you throughout your day, your hour, your week, your month, your year, definitely check out affirmations.com, man. But tonight's wise words is this. Black man, you can't do it single-handedly. You want your siblings. You want your sisters. You want your community. Connect arms. Remove hate. I'm going to say the wise words one more time. Black man, you can't do it single-handedly. You want your siblings. You want your sisters. You want your community. Connect arms. Remove hate. So that is our wise words for tonight here at Coffee Talk Podcast. All right, so tonight, before we go into our book reading, these are very short stories. I mean, they probably only last about 2 minutes. They're going to be very in-depth. Definitely something to talk about with your family, man, as you're listening to Coffee Talk Podcast. There's no foul verbiage, so you can, of course, have the kids around during Cultural Studies Night. Now, we are here to educate. And so that's what we do here at Cultural Studies Night. It's not no Friday, Saturday night. So I thank you all for tuning in right now. But yeah, how's your day, man? Go ahead and let us know what your day was like. If your day was wonderful today, go ahead and let us know. If you had a cool day, go ahead and let us know. If you had an average day, go ahead and let us know how you're doing, how you feeling, did you eat, whatnot. And I notice I keep freezing up. Okay, my bad. All right. And if you didn't have such a great day, we're going to try it again. But, man, we're here for you. This is Coffee Talk Podcast. Come on over, man. We got a shoulder to lean on, and we definitely got an ear to listen. This is Coffee Talk Podcast. All right. So, give me a moment, man, because I want to put some oil on me. I don't wear cologne. I don't make people rich like that. But a nice small $3-5 oil, man. Ooh, keeps positive energy, positive spirit. Keeps my ancestors around me, because we living in a world right now, man, where it's real wicked, man, so I just wanted to do that. Whatever you're wearing tonight, let us know what you wear. Put that in the comments too. We love to just interact with you, All right, so let's go ahead and get into our stories tonight. We have 4 short stories. It's going to be less than probably going to be a 30-minute show. So I thank you for watching our show tonight and being here. But this is the book we're going to discuss. This is a book that was written as a collective from Jeffrey G. Stewart. It's called 1001 Things Everyone Should Know About African American History. So we're going to go in here and decipher a few things, man, and also give you some great stories. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to show you the book, and then we're going to go ahead and begin the show. Make sure you get this book, man. Make sure you support the author. We definitely give props to all authors here at Coffee Talk Podcast. Great book, by the way. Very, very great book. I'm glad that I have it in my personal library. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's go ahead and dig in. The first story is called License to Kill Blacks. License to Kill Blacks. So let's go ahead and check this out. Let's begin. By the beginning of the 18th century, whites could legally kill blacks who resisted their correcting, as it was called then. In a 1705 act, the Virginia Council determined that if a master's accidentally murdered his slave while correcting him or her for some offense, the master's act would not be accounted a felony. But the master, owner, and every such other person so giving correction shall be free and acquitted of all punishment. Ironically, this law was put into effect as the rights of white servants were being strengthened. The license to kill blacks. So that's that short story right there, the license to kill blacks. Let me know what your thoughts are on that read. Again, if you're in a loud place, this might not be a good time to listen to the podcast because we're more in depth tonight. That's what we do on Cultural Study Nights. We like to have open dialect. And we like to just reflect on things. This is how we become a better person individually, as well as a better society, a better community. So that's what we do here at Coffee Talk Podcast is we try to give ourselves a path to critically think about things, you know, and may that help change the world or even the condition that you're living in. All right, next short story is called Intermarriage Punishment. Intermarriage Punishment. Let me see. Do I have enough good lighting there? Okay, there we go. Thank you. All right, story number 2. Intermarriage Punishment. Intermarriage punished. Let's begin. Intermarriage between blacks and whites in the 17th and early 18th century Virginia prompted the passage of a law in 1705 that prohibited the practice and imprisoned whites for 6 months. Although both white men and white women were punished for marrying African Americans, only white women could have their marriage annulled if it was discovered the woman had sexual relations with an African American prior to marriage. Usually the early birth of a mulatto child brought on the discovery. It was not until 1967 Supreme Court decision that all state and local prohibitions against intermarriage were outlawed as unconstitutional. And that's part of the Loving versus Virginia 1967 court documents. That's deep, y'all. What do you think about that one? What do you think about that one? Such as white women were punished for marrying African Americans, and it was only white women who could have their marriages annulled if it was discovered the woman had sexual relations with an African American prior to marriage. And so how would they find out back then? You know, they don't have the same DNA as we have today. So how they found out was because of the early birth of a mulatto child. And so that's how they would know that the white woman was creeping around with Mandingo and all of the other great warriors. There's more stories to that, man. And I'm sure in episodes to come and seasons to come, we're gonna go into that topic more deeper than just a short story here, man. But I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Go ahead and leave your comments on. Do you believe in interracial marriage? Do you think that that's possible? And if you do, let me just ask you another question. When it comes to interracial marriage, do you believe that a family can coexist studying different ideologies and different religions? Go ahead and let me know. Universally, the wife follows her husband. And if he's her husband, he must be a great man. And so that's usually, he's the founder of his family. You know, he's the provider, the protector, the builder, the guider, the teacher, the lover. He's all of those things to his family. So, you know, let me hear what your thoughts are on interracial marriage. I also want to ask you another question. Is it still considered interracial marriage if you're marrying within other melanated cultures? So it doesn't have to just be black and white, but also other melanated cultures. You know, do we call it interracial if Asian marries a Mexican or Asian marries a black person? I don't know what to say when I think of saying that word, black person or African American. Nobody else is dash American. So, you know, whatever. Don't hold that shit against me. You know what I mean? But definitely leave your thoughts. Okay. And, you know, if you're just tuning in, you know, the first short story we just did was License to Kill Blacks, followed by Intermarriage Punishment. So definitely let us know what your thoughts are here at Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. And tonight is our Cultural Studies night. All right. The next show, or I'm sorry, the next story. The next story is called Hogs or Real Estate. Hogs or real estate. You know, hogs such as the pig. Let's dive into this short story. Hogs or real estate. A real dilemma for the colonial legal system in North America was how to rank slaves. In 1671, the case of an orphaned child who had inherited black slaves prompted a decision. If treated like real estate, the slaves could not be disposed of until the child was 21. But if the slaves were considered as hogs or other livestock, which might die in the interim and hence lose their value, then the child could sell the slaves now. The court ruled that the latter was the more responsible to protect the interests of the child. Slaves in North America were thus regularly treated as chattel, as movable and perishable livestock. Look, this is what I'm gonna do, because I know that my microphone does block out noise, but I don't know if you caught that or not, but my phone was just ringing. And two things is going on. One, I'm triggered because don't call me when I'm podcasting just to ask me what I'm doing or ask me something stupid or tell me something stupid, right? And that's just me. That's called a respect thing. Second, I enjoy my viewers and I'm appreciative of them, and I want to give them the right product. So we're definitely going to do that short story in a second. We're going to reread Hogs or Real Estate. We're going to reread that. But before we do that, I'm going to take you into what we call a 30-second commercial break, and then I will be right back to go ahead and finish what we need to finish here. So definitely give me just a second here. This is Coffee Talk Podcast, Cultural Variety Podcast Show, where we bring you the flavor. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Peace, 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 peace. Welcome back to Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. And you already know who it is. It's your boy, M. Saba. I love it. I love to say it in my other voice as well. Mashuma Saba. I love it. How y'all doing tonight, man? Are you enjoying the show tonight? You know, it's been some good reads, man, so far, man. If you just tuning in, it's definitely been some good reads, man. This is the cultural study night, so we definitely chilling, very calm, relaxing. We're enjoying some short stories, man. So that's really what it's about. But thank you for bearing with me through these short stories, man. And I love to hear what you got to say about them. Go ahead and talk to us, man. Leave a comment on the stories thus far on what's your thoughts on them. All right, so we're going to reread story number 3. And I apologize to my viewers because when I was reading the last story, man, I just felt interrupted because my phone was ringing in my desk right here. And speaking of that, you know, I'm just going to tell you what type of dude I am, man. I don't like the phone. You know what I mean? I'm not a phone person. When we were kids, that's what kids do because, you know, we didn't have tablets. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we would talk to your friends all day till your neck hurt, trying to hold your head falling asleep, you know. But as an adult, I don't like the phone. You know, I deal with phone and all that stuff on my professional day-to-day. But when I'm on my chill mission, I'm at home in my comfort zone, man, don't call me. Don't call me. What are we going to talk about? Don't call me during the middle of the week. I don't go to bars during the week. I work for a living. So as people can't go get drunk and then try to get out to bars and stuff and get home and be active, you know, while you over there making your bag, you know, chasing the bag. So that's one. Don't call me. All right. You can email me. You can text me. And if it's important, then we'll link up, whatever. But don't call me just to ask me what I'm doing. If it doesn't consist of me, you know, hey, I'm pulling up, about to come get you, let's go, or whatever. Or I already know you're pulling up because I don't like people that just pop up in my comfort zone. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm not a telephone person. You know, whatever I gotta say, you on the telephone, I can throw that shit in text. Whether you show the world, I show the world, whatever is the trust that we have to have for one another. I don't worry about that type of shit because I'm always gonna keep it real 100 anyway. But I am not a telephone person. Don't call me. Don't call me to tell me what somebody else did. Don't tell me nothing. I'm not concerned with ignorant shit. Just call me on positivity. Anything that's positive, you can call me. You can call me and say, hey, man, have a good day, whatever. Drop a line. That's something positive. I'm with that. I may answer the phone. All right? All right. I'm sorry about my spiel. Well, you know. Does that happen to you, people? Do you guys be like irritated by the phone? I remember my grandmother, and I'm gonna get back to the story in a minute, but you know, I just want to talk to the viewers and the supporters right now. My grandmother, man, she had 6 children, and she has 2 twin daughters, and it's funny because I have twin sons, but my grandmother, whenever her twin daughters would call, right, she would pick up the phone and go. Before she would say hello, she would pick up the phone or about to pick up the phone and she'd go, fuck, because she knew that her daughters had some shit to say or one of her children. And then she'd go, shallow. Shallow. Not hello, it was shallow. Hey, and also, man, rest in peace to my cousin, man, Arthur Jones. We called him Google. Growing up, man, because he would be able to imitate my grandmother's voice better than nobody I've ever heard other than my grandmother, man. But that's a funny story. All right, so back to the show. And hey, as you're tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast, this is your cultural studies night. It's the cultural variety podcast show that's giving it to you, Coffee Talk Podcast. You already know what it is. All right, let's jump into the third story. I'm gonna redo that. We have one last story after this, and then we're gonna end our show for tonight. So the story is hogs or real estate. Hogs or real estate. A real dilemma for the colonial legal system in North America was how to rank slaves. In 1671, the case of an orphan child who had inherited black slaves prompted a decision. If treated like real estate, the slaves could not be disposed of until the child was 21. But if the slaves were considered as hogs or other livestock, which might die in the interim and hence lose their value, then the child could sell the slaves now. The court ruled that the latter was the more responsible to protect the interests of the child. Slaves in North America were thus regularly treated as chattel, as movable and perishable livestock. Yeah, man. You have to ask yourself, what type of person you want to do that to another? Sometimes you have to ask yourself, what type of people, perhaps. And I'm just historically and figuratively speaking. Hogs or real estate? Let me know what your thoughts are on that story, man. Go ahead and leave it in the comments. Definitely make sure that you're sharing the podcast tonight. We really appreciate that. And definitely, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the show. We also on Facebook Live. We will be on Spotify and things soon. We like to move at a snail's pace when it comes to reading contracts and making sure everything's fine-tuned. So, but we are gonna be out there more so that we can bring in more fan base and make sure that y'all are getting the flavor. You know what I mean? Coffee Talk Podcast. Right. So, last story of the night. Again, tonight we read short stories. The first story was called License to Kill Blacks. The second story was called Intermarriage Punished. The third was Hogs or Real Estate. And now we're going to read a short story called Religion, the First African Baptist Church of Savannah, Georgia. And tonight's reading is out of the book, 1001 Things Everyone Should Know About Blacks or Black History, but not. You know why we love this show? We love this show because, one, we get to hear good reading. We carry on the tradition of LeVar Burton and reading Rainbow. And most importantly, you get to see a black man read. No doubt. Because you know how they try to control the narrative. Old media, what we call it. Old media that shows our people in a negative light, man. So you don't get that here at Coffee Talk Podcast. You get fun, love, laughter, educated culture, hip hop, entertainment, 10-question Q&A. You get all that positive stuff here. We don't give you no negative nothing. And that's what makes us so authentic. And the number one podcast show in the nation, man. Coffee Talk Podcast with your boy, with the king, with the God, Mashum Saba, M. Saba. That's the Cultural Variety Podcast show. You know, I felt funny when I said boy, you know what I mean? Because I'm definitely not no boy. But I am somebody. I'm my mama boy. You know what I mean? All right, so let's go ahead and finish this up with religion. First African Baptist Church of Savannah, Georgia. And then we're going to end the show, man. Thank y'all, man, for definitely tuning in tonight, man, and just getting a little bit of this knowledge and wisdom, man. Short stories, man. It's beautiful that our people, man, culturally, we've always shared stories, man. We've always shared stories. We are people that does that. That's part of our tradition, man. So, you know, that's why we carry it on, man. We're authentic over here, you know. All right, so let me see if I have the correct page. How y'all doing tonight, man? Are you with me? All right. Let us know. All right. Here we go. First African Baptist Church in Savannah, Georgia. The First African Baptist Church was founded in 1778 by Andrew Bryan, and this was back in 1737. He went to the essence of 1812. A black pastor and a slave. Upon one of the numerous occasions when his gatherings were disrupted by the paddy rollers, which were slave patrols, he told his persecutors that he rejoiced not only to be whipped, but would freely suffer death for the cause of Jesus Christ. Fortunately, his master sought his release and permitted Bryan to continue his ministry in the plantation barn. He soon gained respect as white ministers examined his congregation and found them to be well instructed. Upon his death in 1812, the White Baptist Association of Savannah issued a memorial statement noting his good works. Where do we begin, y'all? Right, where do we begin? So he was just a good old boy. You know what I'm saying? He rejoiced to be whooped. You know what I'm saying? And he preached to the slaves something that was handed to him. I said it. Something that was handed to him. A story that was handed to him. An image that was handed to him. A religion that was handed to him. A man that was once spiritual. A man that once knew who he was. So we got to ask these questions. So the master rejoiced in the fact that you were good with your spiritual tongue, that he wanted you to continue. But he wanted you to continue because he wanted you to keep the slaves in line. And you did it so well. There's so many words, titles that they will place on you right now. I don't know what to call it as far as keeping it, politically correct on the show tonight. I don't want to, offend. Other than the story, we sticking with the story. They gave this brother a memorial because of how well he kept his people in line, which a religion that was given to him by the same person that was keeping them all slaves. Well, we're here reading it, right? We're reading it. Tell me what your thoughts are in the story. The First African Baptist Church in Savannah, Georgia. Tell me what your thoughts are on Andrew Bryan, who was the black pastor and the slave. What is your thoughts on the word paddy rollers? I haven't heard that word in a long time, but the word paddy rollers were slave patrolmen, slave patrols. Today they call correctional officers. It's very deep. Before we get ready to end our show tonight, I want to read that story one more time just to give you something to think about. And, maybe you tune in a little later and you may want to make some comments. But again, First African Baptist Church in Savannah, Georgia. Let's go ahead and read it one more time for our viewers. The First African Baptist Church was founded in 1778 by Andrew Bryan, a black pastor and slave. upon one of the numerous occasions when his gatherings was disrupted by the paddy rollers, which are also slave patrols, he told his persecutors that he rejoiced not only to be whipped, but would freely suffer death for the cause of Jesus Christ. Fortunately, his master sought his release and permitted Brian to continue his ministry in the plantation barn. Do you think that was for a good reason? Interesting. He soon gained respect. Now, mind you, he's a black pastor and a slave. They're saying he soon gained respect as white ministers examined his congregation and found them to be well instructed. Listen to the words, well instructed. Upon his death in 1812, the White Baptist Association of Savannah issued a memorial statement noting his good works. What is y'all's thoughts? What are your thoughts? I would love to hear them. But that concludes our story for tonight here at Coffee Talk Podcast. And I would just like to let you know that I appreciate you all for continuing to support the show, Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As you take on this journey with us as we get bigger and bigger. We definitely got a lot of great shows lined up for the spring episodes. We're going to get ready to shut down momentarily, partially, as we start to construct for the spring episodes. But yeah, man, I'm just happy to have y'all here at Coffee Talk Podcast, man. Continue to support the show. We're going to continue to bring you the flavor, man. And we just ask, man, that you stay positive. I'm going to hit you with the universal peace sign. And I'm going to say thank you, man, again, from the heart, man. We appreciate you. Coffee Talk Podcast with the guy. With the guy. With the guy. Mashuma Saba. M. Saba. And you know what it is. Coffee Talk Podcast.